I spend a few months in Da Nang every year, and today I want to share my real monthly expenses with you. How far can $700 actually stretch in this beautiful coastal city, and what kind of lifestyle that budget really provides? I know when you first hear that number, it probably sounds like clickbait or a strict backpacker setup. But in reality, this budget covers all my regular monthly expenses for a genuinely comfortable everyday life. That covers my private apartment rent, weekly cleaning and laundry services, and regular meals out. It includes specialty coffees, health insurance, and visa costs. I also budget for bicycle rentals, taxis, and weekly billiards or pickleball sessions with friends. Add in live music nights, a few drinks, and an active social life, and that's the full picture. Of course, lifestyle plays a huge role. Some people spend double this amount without even trying. Others I know personally spend less and still enjoy their time here. In this video, I'll break down every major expense based on my personal experience. But more importantly, I'll also talk about some of the downsides people often ignore, while trying to make everything look overly aesthetic and perfect. So, let's get into it. But before we dive into prices and monthly expenses, there's a very natural question. Why would anyone even consider living in this particular Vietnamese city? For me, the answer is quite simple. Da Nang is one of those places where you tend to feel good almost immediately. The lifestyle here naturally pulls you toward a healthier, more active routine. You walk more, spend more time outdoors, and daily life feels noticeably lighter compared to many larger cities. Fresh mountain air and nice breeze at the beach almost all year round. And speaking of the beach, Mai Kea is often ranked among the most beautiful urban beaches in Asia. A wide coastline, white sand, palm trees, long boulevards, and the Sun Tra Mountain creating a truly distinctive backdrop. You see locals and foreigners playing volleyball on the sand, working out side by side in the mornings. It's also the reason many people casually compare Da Nang to Miami. And once you arrive, you immediately understand why. Then there's the atmosphere. Red and yellow Vietnamese flags are everywhere, something I personally find beautiful. Mostly wide, walkable sidewalks filled with plants, flowers, and trees. Well, walkable might be a slight exaggeration, but I'll come back to that in a minute. The smell of freshly cooked food drifting through the streets. And those familiar recorded announcements from motorbike vendors selling ban bao, a sound you'll start recognizing very quickly, and probably never forget. Another thing that stands out is the international community. You'll find a remarkably mixed crowd here: retirees, digital nomads, long-term expats, slow travelers. Over the past few years, this community has been growing rapidly, much faster than many people expect. Yoga studios, gyms, healthy food spots, world-class bars, they're everywhere. The city has clearly adapted to this lifestyle shift. Locals are generally open and helpful too. What makes daily life here special is how close you are to nature. In just 10 minutes, you can be up at the Lady Buddha statue, overlooking the sea beside a peaceful monastery complex. I like spending slow weekend hours there, reading, meditating, watching the monks chant, and occasionally observing the monkeys from a safe distance. Trust me, feeding them is never a good idea. Another major advantage is location. The ancient town of Hoi An, a UNESCO World Heritage Site, sits just about 40 minutes away. The atmosphere feels completely different. Lantern-lit streets, historic architecture, and a slower pace of life. Yet it's so close that I end up spending full days there quite often. When you first arrive, accommodation can feel quite expensive. That's funny because, yes, the city looks like Miami, but it's still a beach town in Vietnam, a place many people expect to be automatically cheap. What most newcomers quickly realize is that this city has two very different pricing realities. Stay near Mai Kea Beach, and you're dealing with tourist prices. Walk a few streets inland, and the numbers change dramatically. Most foreigners do what seems logical at first. They open Booking.com or Airbnb. And yes, if you book a place for 30 days or more, you usually get discounts on these platforms. You can save even more money by booking a refundable monthly stay online than visiting the building in person. After checking the apartment, speak directly with the owner and ask whether a cash deal is possible if you cancel the booking. The logic is simple: without platform fees, both sides win. Surprisingly, many landlords are open to this conversation. But personally, I follow a slightly different routine whenever I come to Da Nang. I book a place only for the first few days, just enough to have a base while I search for something long-term. Then I walk around the neighborhood, looking for buildings with apartments for rent signs and speaking directly with the owners. Apparently, many landlords don't list their properties on any platform at all. Instead, they simply wait for people to find them. That's usually where the best deals are hiding. That's exactly how I found my current place. Nothing luxurious, nothing Instagram fancy, but it's clean, bright, has a great shower, a nice balcony view, and a very convenient location. And honestly, for me, that combination is what I was looking for exactly. Location plays a huge role in daily comfort here, not just because of pricing. The first few blocks near the beach tend to be louder, busier, and far more chaotic throughout the day. The energy there feels very different, more like a constant holiday zone than a place you'd actually want to live. Restaurants are heavily tourist-focused, streets stay crowded, and simple daily routines can start feeling surprisingly exhausting. Move just slightly inland, just a 15-minute walk from the beach, and the atmosphere shifts completely. Streets become calmer, cafes feel more local, daily life slows down, and those constant interruptions quietly disappear. It simply feels more like a neighborhood, not a resort strip. A reasonable price for a small studio apartment like this is around $6 million per month, roughly $230. It may sound unrealistic if you're new to the city, but this is actually very common. Many foreigners even pay less, especially when negotiating directly. However, finding a good price is only half the story. The other half is knowing what to watch out for. First, always spend time walking around the building and the surrounding streets. Construction noise can easily ruin an otherwise perfect apartment, and in a fast-developing city like Da Nang, construction is everywhere. Second, and this one is crucial, check for karaoke spots nearby. Karaoke culture is huge here, and while it can be fun to observe, it's a completely different experience when you're trying to sleep. Some evenings are peaceful. Others feel like your neighbors opened a concert hall next door. Da Nang isn't actually that hot from November to March, so during these months I don't use air conditioning at all. My electricity bill typically stays under $500,000 per month. Around April and May I start using the AC, but even then it rarely exceeds $1 million, mostly because I'm not home much. Water is very cheap, usually just a couple of dollars per month for a single person, and decent Wi-Fi is commonly included in the rent, which removes another potential expense. Since I don't have a washing machine at home, I use local laundry services. The standard rate is about $17,000 per kilogram, which keeps my monthly laundry costs low. Weekly apartment cleaning for a small studio typically runs around $400,000 per month. Many people prefer doing these things themselves, which makes perfect sense. Personally, I don't mind paying. It's affordable, convenient, and a nice way to support local workers. Vietnamese food is easily one of my favorites in the world, so yes, I might be slightly biased, but honestly, Da Nang makes it very hard not to love the food scene. One thing you quickly learn is that fancy-looking restaurants don't automatically mean better food. Very often it's the opposite. A simple bowl of pho from a small local place can taste noticeably fresher and more flavorful than one served in a polished cafe where you pay 3 times more. And this happens a lot here. Of course, you'll find all the classics: bún cha, banh mi, pho, but Central Vietnam also brings its own specialties. Mi Quang is everywhere, a local noodle dish you'll start seeing constantly. Bánh xèo is another favorite, lighter, fresher, and slightly different from what many visitors expect. A full meal at a local family-run restaurant usually costs around 40 to 50,000. That's a proper, freshly cooked dish, typically served with tea or filtered water. No extra charges, no surprises. This is realistically where many long-term visitors end up eating most of the time. You find a few reliable spots, keep returning, and after a while it simply becomes part of your routine. Owners start recognizing you, sometimes even remembering your spice preferences. It's one of those small details that makes daily life feel comfortable. Of course, sometimes you want international food, Japanese, Indian, Western-style meals, healthy vegan options. Da Nang has plenty of choices, but location plays a huge role. A meal that feels expensive near the beach can easily drop to around 100 to 150 just a bit inland. Same food, completely different economics. When it comes to groceries, my situation is quite simple. I don't cook at home since I don't have a kitchen, and also eating out in Vietnam is often cheaper and more convenient than cooking yourself. So my grocery spending stays minimal: coffee, fruit, snacks, and, unfortunately, plenty of bottled water. Tap water isn't drinkable here, and refill stations aren't really a thing. Local markets are typically cheaper, fresher, and easier to navigate than many people expect, even without speaking Vietnamese. Supermarkets and convenience stores are everywhere, but prices can vary. Interestingly, unlike Saigon or Hanoi, you won't really see chains like 7-Eleven or Circle K here, which means local supermarkets don't face much competition, and prices often reflect that. By the way, if anyone knows why, I'd genuinely love to hear your thoughts in the comments. Over time, most people develop a natural mix. Markets for fresh items, supermarkets for convenience, local restaurants for daily meals, and international food occasionally. If you follow a similar routine, your monthly food expenses will likely fall somewhere between 5 and 6 million, roughly around 200 US dollars. And honestly, the quality of food you get for that budget is quite remarkable. I don't know if I'm slowly turning into a coffee addict here in Vietnam, but I've somehow developed a separate monthly budget of around 1.5 million just for coffee. And believe me, there are many reasons for it. If there's one thing Da Nang does exceptionally well, it's coffee. Vietnam already has a very strong coffee culture, but this city feels like a particularly comfortable place to enjoy it. Cafes are everywhere, and I really mean everywhere. It's almost impossible to walk more than a few minutes without seeing one. What makes the coffee scene here especially interesting is the variety. You'll find everything, from tiny local cafes with plastic chairs and incredibly strong Vietnamese coffee, to beautifully designed modern spaces that could easily fit into any major European city. A traditional Vietnamese coffee typically costs around 20 to 30,000. Strong, bold, often served with condensed milk, and usually powerful enough to wake you up for the entire day. Move into more modern cafes, and prices usually sit somewhere between 40 and 70. Still very reasonable by international standards, especially considering the atmosphere many of these places offer. And the atmosphere is actually a big part of the experience. Local cafe owners seem to have a genuine love for plants. Many coffee shops feel like small urban jungles filled with trees, flowers, sometimes even fish ponds. Most of them have reliable Wi-Fi and serve as workspaces, social hubs, meeting points, or simply places to escape the midday heat. You'll see students, remote workers, groups of friends, business meetings. Cafes are deeply embedded into daily life here. For digital nomads and slow travelers, this becomes one of the city's biggest advantages. Finding a comfortable cafe with good Wi-Fi, air conditioning, and a relaxed environment is rarely a challenge. In fact, the real challenge is choosing. Vietnam has a solid healthcare system, and this city is one of the more comfortable places in the country when it comes to medical care. There are modern private hospitals with good equipment, short waiting times, and English-speaking staff. Huan Mai Hospital is the one I usually go to. For routine things like checkups or minor issues, Prices are very reasonable, but if something serious happens, emergencies or hospital stays, costs can add up quickly. That's why most long-term residents choose to have health insurance. I personally use Safety Wing. They have two main options depending on your situation. Their Nomad Essential Plan covers travel and medical emergencies in 180 plus countries, which is great if you're moving around or staying abroad short to midterm. One of the best parts is that it's flexible, you can cancel anytime, and it's designed specifically for people living abroad. I personally pay $62 every 4 weeks for my coverage, although pricing depends on your age and the plan you choose. They also offer Nomad Complete, which includes emergency coverage plus routine care, screenings, and more comprehensive global health benefits for longer-term living. You can check your rate on their website in less than a minute. They have a simple price calculator. You'll find my referral link in the description. It supports the channel at no extra cost to you. Da Nang has a population of around 1.2 million, which makes one thing surprisingly odd. There's no public transport you'd realistically use. You'll occasionally see bus stops. Google Maps even shows a few routes, but personally, I've never seen anyone actually waiting for a bus. In real life, scooters dominate everything. Locals love the freedom, and foreigners quickly adopt the same pattern. Renting a scooter becomes the default choice for most long-term visitors. For example, a Vietnamese-made electric scooter typically costs around 1.8 million dong per month. These colorful modern bikes make things even simpler. No fuel costs, charging stations everywhere. Many expats go a step further, buying second-hand scooters and reselling them before leaving, often losing very little money. Personally, I stopped riding after a small accident in Thailand, so ride-hailing apps became my main solution. Grab, the regional version of Uber, is incredibly convenient here, especially with bike rides. Most trips cost between $20,000 and $40,000, often under $2. Fast, cheap, everywhere. Cycling is another great option. The city is flat, streets are wide, and daily rentals start around $90,000, getting cheaper long-term. It's a great way to exercise and explore quieter neighborhoods, or even check out other beaches. In my case, mixing walking, Grab, and occasional bicycle rides keeps my monthly transport spending under $800,000. For a city this size, that's hard to beat. As I mentioned earlier, Da Nang is a very active city. You don't run out of things to do. If anything, choosing becomes the real challenge. Live music is everywhere. Casual jam sessions, small local bands, relaxed bars with no entrance fees. You simply grab a drink and enjoy the night. A bottle of Huda or similar local beer usually costs around $30,000, while craft or imported options in more upscale venues naturally sit higher, around $80 to $90. Cocktails and shots can get noticeably more expensive, so it's always a good idea to glance at the menu before getting carried away. One of the most interesting aspects of the city is how social everything feels. Digital nomad meetups, community events, free yoga sessions, beach workouts, volleyball competitions, ice baths. There's constantly something happening, and many of these activities are basically free or very low cost. Billiards is another big part of the lifestyle here. You'll see billiard clubs everywhere. Locals love it, and sooner or later, you'll probably find yourself playing a few games too. What makes Da Nang particularly enjoyable is how naturally social life develops. After a couple of weeks, you often realize you've built a small routine. Favorite cafes, familiar bars, people you keep running into. New friends without even actively trying. Maintaining an active social life here doesn't require a massive budget. For many people, entertainment spending comfortably sits around 1 million dong per month. Of course, lifestyle always dictates the numbers. If you go out frequently or lean toward more upscale venues, it's very easy to spend 2 or 3 times that without noticing. Now let's talk about the smaller everyday costs, the ones that rarely get mentioned but still shape the full budget. Mobile data in Vietnam is extremely cheap. I use a local Vinaphone SIM, one of the more reliable networks here. My monthly plan costs around 130,000. A simple neighborhood barbershop typically charges around 80,000. Nothing fancy, but clean, fast, and efficient. Basic toiletries and household items, things like shampoo, soap, toothpaste, detergent, usually stay under 200 per month for me. Shops and convenience stores are everywhere. When you combine these smaller extras, roughly 400,000 per month is a realistic estimate. Alright, now let's put everything together. The numbers you see on my screen are my real monthly budget for Da Nang, based on actual prices I pay and regularly see others paying here. No luxury lifestyle, no extreme penny pinching, just a normal, everyday life. When everything is added up, it lands at roughly 18 million per month, comfortably under $700. That covers essentially my entire routine here. Rent, food, transport, insurance, coffee, eating out, social life, and all those small extras people often forget to calculate. Billiards nights, live music evenings, random weekend activities, the full picture. Of course, some will spend more, others far less. But for me, this range delivers a very relaxed, very enjoyable standard of living. If your experience looks different, drop it in the comments. I am genuinely curious how different or similar your numbers are. Let's talk visas. Easily one of the most confusing parts of living in Vietnam. Rules change often, so I'll keep this practical and focused on how things generally work right now. Vietnam still isn't a classic expat hub in the way Bali or Thailand are. Many foreigners here are on shorter stays, 90-day cycles, slow travelers, long-term tourists, and that's a fair observation. Vietnam in general feels relatively new for people planning a full relocation or starting businesses. Importantly, there is no dedicated digital nomad visa. For most people, the 90-day e-visa is the default choice. You apply through the official government website, pay $25 for single entry, and typically receive approval by email within a couple of days. After those 90 days, you leave the country and apply again from abroad. Many residents do short visa runs, a quick trip to Kuala Lumpur, Laos, or Cambodia, then return with a new e-visa. In practice, immigration procedures are usually straightforward, even for those doing multiple visa runs. If you're employed by a Vietnamese company or set up a business locally, you can pursue a work visa and a temporary residence card. That's the most stable long-term path, though it involves sponsorship and paperwork. Time to talk about the downsides, the things you should realistically consider before deciding to live here. Daily life requires a bit of adjustment. This city is loud, very loud. Traffic, construction, street noise. Silence isn't common. People can feel more direct and less outwardly smiley than in some other Asian countries. Pedestrian crossings often feel optional. It's not hostility, just a different pace and social style. Karaoke captures this perfectly. Neighbors setting up speakers, singing late into the night, everyone enjoying the moment. Chaotic, social, sometimes fun to watch, unless you're trying to sleep. Another common debate, is Da Nang really an expat hub? Compared with places like Chiang Mai or Bali, Vietnam still feels relatively new for long-term foreign residents or business builders. Many people are short-term visitors. Still, from what I've seen, the international community is already sizable and growing quickly. Tourism growth is another factor. Prices have been rising alongside visitor numbers, but this also brings improvements, better infrastructure, more international flights, and a steadily developing city. Despite the growth, Da Nang still manages to feel surprisingly relaxed once you settle in. The weather is a genuine deal breaker for some. Most of the year is warm and tropical, which many people love. But the rainy season, roughly November to mid-January, can mean heavy rains, gray skies, and occasional flooding. If you struggle with humidity or long wet periods, this matters. Sidewalks exist, and many are wide and well-built, but they're often occupied. Parked motorbikes, cafe seating, vendors, random obstacles. Walking usually means weaving and adapting. Normal here, but worth knowing. English levels vary. In central and tourist-heavy areas, communication is easy. Outside those zones, expect simpler interactions. Despite all of this, I genuinely love Da Nang. I keep coming back. And somehow, every year, I like it even more.